Welcome to Intuitive Mind Lab Radio, where science meets spirituality and unravels the mysteries of the mind and the universe. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodwin, a self-mastery mentor, born intuitive medium, and licensed health provider with a knack for blending neuroscience with a touch of the cosmic. This radio show skips the small talk and dives straight into the big, impactful energies. You're in the right place if you're a growth-minded, science-loving, wellness enthusiast, or a spiritual seeker ready to kick limiting beliefs to the curb. I've got you covered, from self-mastery tips to deep dives into manifestation and the esoteric. Buckle up, because we're about to upgrade your mind and master your life. Welcome to Intuitive Mind Lab Radio. Hello, and welcome back to Intuitive Mind Lab Radio. I am so excited to have you here with me for episode 3. Today is going to be so amazing in our discussion, and we are going to be talking about manifestation. One particular law of manifestation that is pretty much all I follow, and it is Neville Goddard. He was a philosopher and writer and teacher many years ago. If you're not familiar with him, I highly recommend checking out his work. Probably the most significant of his work that is so powerful for me is the power of imagination. And I'm going to actually talk to you more about that. We are actually going to talk about one of the universal laws, and that is going to be the law of assumption. And that really is the only law pretty much that I pay attention to. All the other laws are great, but the law of assumption, in my opinion, is the most powerful. And that is what Neville Goddard was all about, was the law of assumption and the power of imagination. And the reason why he said the power of imagination is because your imagination, just to note on another note, is actually your connection to your higher self, the higher mind, God. I mean, we're essentially all God experiencing itself in a different version of itself. And so the imagination is that direct link to that infinite source. And so as children, we really lose our connection to our imaginations through societal conditioning and patterns and trauma. And so we really forget who we truly are. When I really started to awaken, I started to remember, and also after my near-death experience, that, wow, I was very awake as a child. I was very into being anything that I wanted to be, like many children. If you're someone that has kids, or you might remember similar things about your own childhood, like what I'm discussing now, you know that kids have this infinite energy about them, that they can do anything, they can be anything. And I clearly remember that. And it was funny because my family, adults in my family used to laugh, and they would say, "Oh, Lindsay, she can do anything. She's interesting. Oh, that Lindsay, she's interesting." Because I just always had this connection to this bigger world. And I would talk about it as if it existed, that I didn't understand why other people didn't see it. And so now in my spiritual awakening journey, and as I continue to keep discovering parts of my own self, is that, I come across Neville Goddard quite a few years ago. I wasn't quite ready for his work. I think that's the other thing. It can be a lot to understand if you're not in that place. It just is very different than what we're taught. But it really has resonated with me because he talks about the power of imagination. And I remembered as a child that was something that was really powerful to me. And I didn't quite understand why people didn't have that same sort of energy about them, why they felt like they couldn't do certain things, or they felt limited. Things felt very limiting to me as a child. Just kind of a backstory of how I connected with this information that Neville in his work and how he created it. But the law of assumption, there's this saying that a lot of people say, "Oh, don't assume things." Well, I could see that part of that is true. Probably You don't want to assume things. Like, you don't want to have an expectation of things, like specifically from other people, or be tied to the outcome. But other part of that statement, I really am not a fan of, because I do believe that we do assume things. Like, we assume the best for ourselves. We assume that everything is always working out for us in our greatest and highest good. We assume that we're always able to unlock parts of ourselves that we're asking to unlock. We assume that we're always in control of ourselves, like things like that. So I don't necessarily agree with part of that statement, because the law of assumption is assumption. It's assuming. And really, what does the law of assumption mean? It means, well, you assume something before it actually physically shows up. Science is, because I talk a lot about science. Science is starting to now show us that our thoughts do create our reality, that our thoughts do have something to do with how our body, for example, is functioning. So if that be the case, which we know that it is, then why would that not have an effect on what our environment is like? So really what we're thinking about, our thoughts are our power. It's really how we do create our reality. And I know that sometimes that can be difficult to take when you might be somebody. I know that I had to awaken to that I am responsible for my experience, and that you actually can feel, well, why would I choose that for myself? You want to try to almost like take a scapegoat, but you can't. Once you start owning it and realizing that everything that's been in your environment, you've created, even if it is something that you feel like someone's victimizing you or something, there's something in it for you that is actually helping you to grow. And so your soul is always attracting to you what you need actually for your evolution and growth. So not to digress too much on that, because I definitely will talk more about that in future episodes. But as far as with the law of assumption, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that you just know something is working out for you without attaching to the outcome of when that's showing up for you. It's assuming that it's already done. Creation is finished. And it's true. Creation is finished. You have to assume that it's finished. You have to know that it's finished. So your feelings really are, the other part to this is the feeling. I'm going to talk a lot about this today. Your feelings really are your superpower. And if you've been wondering why your manifestations aren't showing up, it could be that you actually aren't actually believing that they will show up. If you are someone that's new to this, or you're a seasoned manifester and you're just interested in more information, that this episode is going to help you with some of these answers that you're asking. Okay, we're going to go into some questions. I'm going to go into different stories of my own and really try to give you some clarity today on this. We're going to be exploring how the universe responds to your emotions and your feelings. Feelings are so important, how you feel about something, and your desires, that they've already been fulfilled. And so it's really going to be a game changer when you realize this and really start embodying it and integrating it. I would suggest give you a second to go grab a notebook, and hopefully you've got a cup of tea or coffee or something. I know that I do. And let's prepare to level up your manifestation game. So my first question to you is, now I really want you to think about this. What if the only thing standing between you and your desired reality was how you felt about it? I know we think, well, gosh, Lindsay, I say that I want something. Of course I want it. Yeah, but how do you truly feel about it? How do you feel about it on a subconscious level? Are there patterns there that could be sending signals? Are you sending out signals unconsciously that you believe that you don't deserve it? These are questions that we often have to ask. And as someone that is a certified hypnotherapist and therapist and neuro-linguistic programming, which is reprogramming the subconscious mind, I can tell you, beautiful, that our subconscious mind is sending out signals all the time, and we might not even be aware of it. So you could actually be sending out a feeling that even though you say that you want a desired outcome or reality, that it's not coming because you might not actually believe that you deserve it. I find this a lot when I'm helping people manifest their partners. Or I also specialize in fertility and reproductive medicine. And not necessarily on this podcast, I have another podcast for that. I also help people like yourself who are looking to be in the highest version of themselves and be able to really unlock the secrets of the universe and unlock the secrets of the universe that are already within you. And so life really is a scavenger hunt. It's really about us finding the clues to be able to pay attention to how we're being guided. And so everything is a clue. So anyway, why I mentioned fertility is because often my clients that I work with, they don't even feel that they deserve a child because of something that happened maybe from their childhood or past relationship. Okay. So it definitely could be something relating to self-love. And I could go on and digress into many different scenarios, but I'm not going to keep it on course. But if there is something that you're interested in me talking about, send me over an email, shoot us over an email, let us know what it is that you're interested in, and I can answer your questions, as well as maybe do a podcast or have your question answered on air. Let's think about why the universe responds to you in feelings. You're probably asking that question like, okay, well, why? Well, to tell you the truth, the answer is the universe operates like a mirror, reflecting the energy you radiate through your emotions. It's always reflecting back to you what you need. Remember what I just stated is that it's always giving back to you what you need. It's not always fun. We don't always like that. It's not always, flowers and puppies that we're manifesting into our experience. It could be narcissistic people. It could be loss of your job. It could be lots of different things. And narcissism, that's something I specialize in. I will definitely do some episodes on that because I want to educate, especially if you're listening to this podcast. You most likely are an empath, a light worker, a star seed, someone that has really been impacted by abusive relationships, whether that be from a parents, a past relationship with an intimate partner, maybe even possibly a child, one of your children, or it could be a coworker, a boss. I mean, narcissistic people are everywhere, and they're really now being more exposed now that we are having so much ascension. So many people are ascending, and really there is a splitting of the two earths. So as I stated, if you feel abundant, loved, or successful, the universe will bring you situations that match those vibes. Feeling as though your dream has already happened tricks your subconscious mind into aligning with that reality. So I just recently was talking to a client about this. She found me through podcasts that I did on someone else's podcast. And I was talking about affirmations. Affirmations are great, but if you don't actually believe them, you don't actually know that they're manifesting for you, they really don't have an impact. This is where the subconscious mind is so powerful. And the work that I do is that I'm really helping you to dig down deep and figure out where you've got blocks so that those affirmations are going to work. Because if you don't have room for something, it makes it difficult for it to actually be able to get to you in your physical reality. We're back at it's never outside of you, it's within you. Okay, so unlocking that door within you. So a favorite quote that I love from Neville Goddard is feelings are the secret. Oh, that's so powerful. Think about that. Your feelings are the secret to everything. How you feel about something is the secret. So it's really in comparison to radio frequencies or Wi-Fi signals. You have to tune into the right emotional frequency to attract your desire. Now, I never want to send a message to anybody that this is ever about guilt or shame or making you feel bad. Because remembering that you're always exactly where you need to be at that particular time for your evolving. So what does that mean? That means that nothing is ever by mistake. Everything that you're manifesting into your experience is there for a purpose. It's there for a reason. Even people that are not great to deal with, like I said, people that usually are on an ascension journey that, like yourself, that you are going to attract people that are going to come into your life that are going to push you further into that ascension journey. So what does that equate down to? Probably situations and people that might be abusive. It's your job to figure out that that is not what you prefer. But remembering that you're always attracting to you what you need. I know that that was hard for me, and I still am constantly learning, because I will say this as somebody that is an empath, that you naturally want to help. You naturally want to help people. But there are people, I would say it's a good majority of the population, that whether they're doing it consciously or not, that they're energy vampires. And they will seek out people that will basically take on their bullshit. I call it energy graveyards. And this usually is the chosen ones, the empaths, the light workers. I'm talking about the true empaths, light workers, and chosen ones, not the people that make this a business. That's a whole nother podcast. But there are a lot of, I'm just going to be honest, fakes. There's a lot of fake healers out there. So I want you to be careful of that as well. Make sure that you're always working with someone that you really resonate with. I don't care how many followers they have on Instagram. Just use your own discernment about how you feel about a particular situation. Never judging them. As the great Alan Watts states, that we don't judge people. They're just limited. And there are a lot of limited mindset healers. And I have met many, many so-called healers, in quotes, that are narcissistic, that are very manipulative people. So I just want you to be careful. You're going to hear me talk a lot about that because I am here to educate. And there are situations where people are very good at marketing and they're very good at marketing themselves, but their intentions are not always good. I'm going to help you not only with manifestation, but unlocking and decoding the universe, unlocking and decoding yourself, and really being able to trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust that internal GPS that we just talked about. That Wi-Fi, well, I actually call it the Wi-Fi signal. I want you to trust that. And that's also that emotional frequency and how you attract your desires to you. Really, desires, I don't know how I feel about that either. I want you to think about it more as really awakening and unlocking a version of you that you desire to be. So I want to add that rather than just saying desire. And I always want you to remember that everything is always within you. Everything is always within you. You're not going to find it in another person. You're not going to find it in a relationship. You're not going to find it in anyone else. And as far as mentors, you're always working with people that are giving you the opportunity to awaken it within yourself from you. You're the one doing it. They're just helping to guide you. And you really, if you're hiring mentors, it's really about them helping you. And then you are in a grounded place within yourself. Essentially, you've healed and you've awakened these desired versions of yourself that you know that you are. And then you move on. So it's not a lifelong sort of situation. Mentors should really come in and out. They shouldn't be a lifelong sort of situation. For example, I have the opinion, this is my opinion, okay, that people that have worked with, say, a therapist for several years, and medical disclaimer here, okay, please do not stop any treatment because of anything that I ever say. I am not your therapist. You're listening to a podcast. This is educational purposes only. But my opinion is that if you have been, or I'm not going to say you, but if someone has been in therapy for 20 plus years or 10 plus years, why are they not getting better? Isn't therapy about getting better? It's that way with anything, essentially, as well as health-related stuff. Of course, mental health is part of your health, but other things as well. I see a lot of people go see acupuncturist. I'm also an acupuncturist for years and years and years, and they're not getting any results. Why are you continue to see that acupuncturist? And it might not be the particular therapist that you're seeing or acupuncturist. It could be maybe, and again, I shouldn't say you, I'm saying hypothetically, that it could be that that particular person isn't putting in the work. So that could be going on too, but just kind of sparking your interest and your curiosity a little bit, that if something is going on for years and years and years and you're not getting better, it's probably not a good option. There's probably something else out there that you're not quite seeing yet. Or maybe some people don't want to see. They just like continuing to do therapy for 20 years and really not succeed in getting better. And that's a whole nother big thing that we're not going to talk about because you're not here for that. That is not you. You're way past anything like that, or may have never even been like that. Past the victim mentality, essentially, is what that boils down to. So your emotions are vibrational magnets. So going back to feelings are the secret that Neville Goddard said. And if you're admitting doubt, frustration, resentment, anger, lack, feeling like you're not enough, that's also lack, you're only going to attract more of that same energy. Doesn't sound very nice, okay? So it is, we have to really, really start taking ownership of our emotions and really our feelings and what we signal we're putting on the universe. So embodying the feeling of your desires and feeling as though it's already fulfilled. Feelings are the secret. So what does feeling it really mean? Now, often people will say, well, being delusional, I didn't think that was a great thing to be delusional. Yes, it is. Being delusional about feeling and manifesting something before it actually shows up, that is manifestation. So that delusion is great. And mental illness being delusional, that's very different. So I feel that it is so much in our society that we are conditioned to move away from the infinite possibilities, to think that something is wrong with us. I know as a child that I always felt so much of an outcast. You know, I was kind of like the weird kid. And I'm sure that you are also feeling that because you're interested in listening to me. So we are aligned. And so you probably have a lot of the similar sort of energies, feelings, experiences that I have. And so as the weird kid, you know, I was always asking questions of why people did the things the way that they did. Why did they not believe the imagination that I had? Why did they have to be so regimented and so serious about everything? Delusion, when you think of being delusional, is very different than how society tried to condition people to think delusion was. Delusion is a good thing. It's about the law of assumption, knowing that something is manifesting for you. You have to be delusional about it because it hasn't quite shown up yet in physical reality. But why do we need to believe something before it actually physically shows up? Well, that's limitation. If that's actually how anyone is conducting their life, they're going to have a much harder time of being able to manifest their dreams. It's going to be like a bottleneck. But some people are very good at manifesting. Doesn't necessarily mean they're awake. I always find that really interesting. But they just believe in themselves. Manifestation is really about believing in yourselves and your ability. So it's a lot of confidence too. And then I have an exercise for you. So go ahead and write down in your notebook or pause this and write it down. Come back to it. Here we go. Take one goal that you're working on. So think about a goal that you're working on. I want you to ask yourself a question. How would achieving this feel? Really write down feelings, happiness, joy, excitement, accomplishment, whatever it is. How would it feel? Soul purpose, that's a big one for me generally. How does it feel? Now what I want you to do is I want you to try sitting in it, that feeling, for 2 to 5 minutes a day, whether during a meditation, a walk, or a morning gratitude routine. I love going outside and really spending a lot of time outside because it gives you the opportunity to spend time with the feminine energy, because the earth really is the feminine energy. And Mother Earth makes sense, right? And all of the creation around. And when you are coming into a new version of yourself, you're in a creation mode. So feminine energy is always about creation. Another way would be connecting with your sacral chakra. That is the place of creation, the womb space. So you could look up chakra for sacral chakra, creativity. And I will do more episodes on the chakras because that's something I talk a lot about as medical intuitive. So I want you to break this myth. You don't need to be happy every second. The key is creating consistent emotional touch points that align with your goals. If you can feel it, you can have it. That's something that Dolores Cannon actually talked a lot about. If you can feel it, you can have it. So overcoming emotional blocks. We want to acknowledge that there's resistance. Don't ever try to act like something isn't there because it's showing up for a reason. Acknowledge that you feel the resistance. Let's figure out the root of why the resistance is there. Many of us hold emotional blocks. They could be things like low self-esteem, probably a lot of people, and don't even realize they have low self-esteem. And I must say something. People that seem very overly confident, like arrogant, they're very insecure people. They never want you to think that they are not secure. They're very insecure. Confidence is very different from arrogance, as well as fear and limiting beliefs that prevent us from tapping into our higher feelings. So how do we really identify resistance? Are you feeling anxious? Like I mentioned, when I was saying that when you're feeling resistant towards maybe when you want to journal or meditate examples, that is it really that you're anxious about visualizing your goals? Do you feel that you deserve it? Important note to make. So doubts or what ifs creep in immediately after thinking about your desires. Does that happen? Are we feeling doubtful because, again, we don't believe that we deserve it? We're fearful that it won't manifest. Maybe there's limiting beliefs because maybe as a child we were taught that we weren't good enough. Or maybe our parents fought a lot and were constantly telling each other that they didn't like each other. It could be a bazillion different things. It's really specific to what was going on in your experience or is currently. So really there are tools that we can use to be able to dissolve these emotional blocks. Things like journaling include questions like, what emotions am I currently holding that are not serving me? And why do I feel unworthy of my desires? So we've got to ask these questions. We want to be able to be affirmative, rewriting to shift emotions. What does that mean? That means that if the block is fear of failure, affirm, I trust that the universe supports and delivers anything I desire. Gratitude rampages. So instead of a negative rampage, let's think about gratitude rampages. About writing or saying out loud everything that you're grateful for. Instantly raises your emotional frequencies. If you're having a kind of a bad day or something, you can start to think about something that really makes you happy, and it will change your vibrational frequency almost instantly. So try doing it. Just a reminder that you don't have to overcome every emotional block overnight. It's not going to happen. Most likely, it's not going to happen. Very slim. I think most of us, we're working with the body memory, we're working with the mind, we're working with the higher mind, we're working with all kinds of stuff. And this journey is essentially about evolving and learning and growing. So it is part of the process. You're in a virtual reality playing a game. Enjoy the experience, even when you are getting over emotional blocks. Enjoy the healing. I know we don't think of that, but everything is about perspective. And those perspective shifts are actually what can really, really, really help you to be able to manifest in that higher version of yourself. I never want people to think, though, that they're not doing enough. So please don't ever feel that way. I have some closing thoughts for you. And as we wrap this up, I want you to remember that this manifestation isn't about forcing something to happen. It's about being the energy of what you truly desire. Remember what I stated. It's taking a step further and realizing that those desires are just different versions of you that you already know that you are, that your soul is trying to lead you to. Okay? So it's already within you. It's not outside of you. The universe will always respond to your level of gratitude. My mom has told me that so many times. She told me that as a kid before I even knew really about manifestation. In fact, I didn't learn about manifestation until a couple of years before I had my near-death experience. I was starting to get into it. So gratitude, love, and joy help you to radiate an energy that comes from within. If you really want to change any relationship in your life, start with yourself, because you will radiate an energy out that will be healing to the entire collective, including those around you. Remembering that we all are one, which means that we are not separate and that we are just versions of God experiencing itself in a different version of itself. So even the people that you don't care for, they are still a version of you. Animals are a version of you. A tree is a version of you. Everything is just a version of you as God experiencing itself in a different version. So remember that. That is an awakened person that can actually, an awakened human that can get past the 3D reality and realize that energy is never separate. So I'm not saying take abuse from people. What I'm saying is that, like Alan Watts said, they're just limited. See people for the limitation that they could be, where they are, and leave them. Like Mel Roberts says, let them. I say leave them. Leave them alone. Send them love. Send them light. It's always so incredible, like I stated, to have you tune in and listen. I have so many great episodes coming. This podcast is created for the Energy Collective, and you're part of that. And it is really to empower those that are awakening or are awake that need support. And I integrate the ideas of science and the unseen energies, and I'm here to really help people understand that integration. I feel like for so long there's been a separation of those energies together, and I'm here to help people see that we can very much integrate. We can have a physical proof of things, but you can't always prove everything either. So manifestation, part of that is starting to be proven, but it is still very much the unseen energy. Just as more support for you, I want to share with you that it's really exciting. I am teaching a master class on March 31st. It is virtually, so through Zoom. So you can take this class anywhere that you are, even if you're not in the United States. You can also take it. It's through a organization community that is called Our Well, and it is a spiritual community that they're really amazing. Check them out. They have lots of great classes with lots of wonderful healers that are offering classes. I will link the link for the class in the show notes, and I hope to see you there. So listen, beautiful, I'm so excited again that you joined, and until next time, stay aligned, keep creating that magic, the infinite magic that you are, the uniqueness that you are, for one high vibe feeling at a time, and as always, so much love. And that's a wrap for this episode on Intuitive Mind Lab Radio. If this episode sparked your curiosity or lit a fire in your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your Cosmo-loving bestie, and hey, if you're feeling the vibes, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. Until next time, remember this, it's your universe, and you hold the power to master it. I'll see you next time in a mind-expanding Intuitive Mind Lab Radio episode. Stay curious, bold, and always true to your authentic self. Much love always.